Hyvää huomenta, minä olen Emilie. Good morning, my name is Emilie. This past summer, I spent 6 weeks in a homestay program in Finland. While I was there, my family taught me many Finnish recipes, including a recipe for pulla, which is a Finnish sweetbread that they eat while drinking coffee. The first thing that we need to do is to get our ground cardamom. So these are the cardamom pods, and inside the pods there are seeds. So to ground this, you put it inside the mortar and pestle, and you just kind of smush them until they're a fine powder. So now we're going to use 1 cup of lukewarm milk. This milk has been heated and then we let it cool a bit so that it's about the temperature of your body. So now we're going to pour in a 1/2 cup of sugar. And now we're going to mix the sugar and the milk with a whisk. Now we're going to add 1 packet of yeast into the milk and sugar mixture. And now we're going to whisk all this together. So now the next step is to add 1 teaspoon of salt. Then we add 1 egg. So now we're going to add the cardamom that we crushed earlier, and we are going to add 2 teaspoons. And now we're going to whisk the whole mixture together. And it's important to really whisk it so that the egg gets well incorporated into the mixture. So now we're going to add 2 cups of flour. And now we're going to whisk all of this together. So now we're going to add the butter. This is 1/2 stick of melted butter. And now we're going to start mixing the mixture with a wooden spoon. Okay, so now we're going to add 2 more cups of flour. And now we're going to start mixing it with the wooden spoon again. Now we're going to add 1 more cup of flour, and then we'll start kneading it with our hands instead of using the wooden spoon. The way that you can tell if the dough is ready or not is if you put your hand down and you can put it back up without any dough sticking on your hand. Now that the dough is ready, we're going to let it rise, and before we do that, we should cover it with a cloth and then just leave it in a warm place for about an hour. So this is dough that has risen before, and it's risen quite a bit, as you can see. So the next step is to put it on a baking sheet. And this is just a sheet of parchment paper that you place on top of it. And now we're going to take the dough and just put it on top of the parchment sheet. And you can really just spread it out with your hands. You can knead it a bit. You can do really whatever. If you have a rolling pin, that's great. If you don't have one handy, then you can just use the handle of anything that's round to just roll out the dough. And you want the shape to be like a rectangle. So now that we've rolled out the dough, it's now kind of like a rectangular shape. And it doesn't really have to be that thick. So now this part is done. And the next step is to take your scissors and just cut strips along the outer thirds of the rectangle. Also right here and right here. And we're going to do exactly the same thing on this side. So I'm going to flip it. And you want them to line up evenly. So now that we're done with this part, we're going to put this to the side so it can rise a bit more, and we're going to make the inside filling of the pulla. For the filling, there's butter, sugar, some cinnamon, and some cardamom. And all you have to do is kind of mix it up with the spoon so that it's a nice paste. One way that our family likes to do it that's not a traditional Finnish way is to add apples, cored and peeled apples, and just cut them into little chunks and put them inside the mixture. And that also tastes really good, but we're just going to stick with the traditional Finnish way for today. So now we're just putting the cinnamon, cardamom, butter, sugar paste filling into the dough, and you just have to spread it out evenly. All the way in the middle third of the dough. So the next part that we're going to do is we're going to start braiding the loaf. So first you take one piece on this end and you fold it over like this. And then you take the other piece on this end and you fold it over like that. And you do the same thing, alternating sides like this. And it's important to really lift up at the edges so that it kind of creates a wall and that the filling won't come out when the dough is baking. And then what you can do at the ends is just push them together and kind of pinch them together at the ends like this so that none of the filling will seep out. So that's just lifting and pinching together like this. So now the dough is almost ready to put into the oven. All we have to do is make a nice egg wash on top. So to do that, just take an egg. And all we have to do is lightly beat it. So now we're just putting a light egg wash on all of the dough, and all it does is it gives it a nice golden brown color when it comes out of the oven. And you don't really have to use all of the egg wash, you just have to make sure that everything is evenly covered. So now the loaf is completely ready to be put into the oven. But before we do that, we have to preheat it to about 375 degrees, and then we're going to let it bake for about 25 minutes. Okay, so this is what the bread looks like when it's right out of the oven. So, Olipa, hyvää, bon appétit.
Hilipati, 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 hillaa, hilipati, hilipati, hilipampaa. Tali tuli, tali, 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 tuli, tallaa, tili, tali, tullaa, tili, tantaa.